Folks, in this particular video, this is just part of my workout routine that I try to incorporate throughout the week. And this is a gym somewhere. I'm not gonna say where, but this is a gym. These are the bits of equipment I have, and this is just part one of some of the exercises that I do in order to stay fit, to stay strong, and maybe it's helpful to you, maybe it gives you some ideas for a home gym, that type of thing, because a lot of the stuff is not necessarily expensive. Some of the things you may already have, some of these things you may already be able to do in a public gym, whatever. This is just my workout routine, and I'm going to try and dub in some parts as to describe what I'm doing, what the purpose of it is, what the effectiveness of it is. And I will say before we go on into it is that not every exercise works the same for all people. Some exercises, you come to a point after you start out what I would call the intermediate phase of lifting and working out. You end up getting to a plateau where the same exercises no longer make you sore, they no longer really grow much unless you're just doing tons and tons of reps. And so I'm past that point where I've plateaued. I'm having to change things up a lot, and in order to keep a consistent basis for my workouts and muscle growth, I have to change things up to see what's more effective. All the standard stuff that I used to do is what you'd find in your basic starting workout videos. Same lifts, easy stuff, but I've worked out on and off pretty much consistently for at least over 10 years now, and there's been times when I haven't been as consistent, so consistency is key if you want to make a change. And the biggest thing for workouts and trying to stay physically fit will have to be incorporated with physical movements, but also your diet. Your diet, it has to be high on protein. Your calories have to be more mid-range, the low range if you're trying to lose weight. You have to cut out sugars. At least 90% of sugars you have to cut off, which means you're intaking smaller amounts of sugars to the point where it doesn't count for anything, essentially. You can burn it off very quickly. But also, the essential diet that I'm on right now is, let's say I have some fajita bits of steak. So there's my protein. I have a little bit of rice under that. And then I have raw veggies, a dish of raw veggies. That's usually like my lunch. My breakfast is, somewhere in the round of up to 600 to 700 calories. Get me started through the day, because usually I do forms of manual labor, which means I can't really slack and be weakened. But let's say, for instance, you have a sedentary job where you're just sitting around not doing much. You probably don't need that many calories to do that kind of job. But if you're in a job where you're moving constantly, you're moving stuff, and your body's going for hours at a time like mine, then you need a little bit more calories to keep you rolling through the day. But the biggest thing that I found is effective for weight loss is indeed cutting back on portions and being very, very interested and I can't think of the word, but you're very in tuned and mindful of what you're actually eating. You're mindful of the things that you are eating, putting in your body, how much, how often, and being mindful and being disciplined is something that a Christian needs to do. Self-examination, self-discipline are things of a Christian walk and a Christian life. And so you can start out small, but needs to keep moving and moving forward. Having accountability partners is good. Having people to encourage you, maybe go to the gym with you, go work out with you is great. But everyone needs to start somewhere. And this is just part of my routine. I'll call this video part 1. part 2, we'll go into detail about other exercises I do, as well as some of my back issues and how I deal with those. But there it is, part 1. The first exercise here that I'm doing is called the Easy Bar Curl. This is a standard exercise for working out the biceps. However, due to the grip and weight, it can also work out your forearms simultaneously. It is best not to do too much weight, but rather at first work on the movement and repetitions. 2 sets of 10 is a good starting point with lighter weights. The following exercise is something called an upright row or standing row. It works the front and middle deltoids or shoulders. Key things to know for this exercise is that it is dangerous. If done improperly, it can tear your rotator cuff ligaments. Lightweight and smooth motion is recommended for this exercise. Also, for me, I try to not let my elbows go above my shoulders to the next bringing the bar up towards my chin. This next exercise is what's called a tricep extension. In this particular format and way I'm doing it, the exercise is meant as a standing version of the usual version, which is that of someone laying down using an easy bar or a curl bar and tucking the curl bar behind their head and then bringing it up. If you watch the first part of or the first angle, you'll be able to see that it's not much different than the regular movement of the laying down version. And so this exercise is meant to isolate the tricep and also works the forearm because of the grip. Now, I've made the video from 2 different angles to show you how I try to do this. After 2 sets of 10, just using my body weight, I definitely feel the burn. The good thing is, you can start out at a less stretched out position with your feet closer to the bar and then doing the same form. Now, however, you might look a little silly, and of course, I probably look a little bit dumb in this. Now, this particular exercise that I'm about to show you and do, um, I'm not sure the official name, but I would say that it is the bicep curl pull down. And to me, it is by far one of the most uh, effective exercises for getting that pump for your biceps. It's a good warm up exercise, actually. If you're looking for a warm up exercise that will immediately, you'll feel the burn within the first 10 reps of this exercise. And as you're watching, what I'm doing is look at my hand position on the pull down bar, and I am pulling it down, but I'm also curling my wrist inward as I'm going down, and I'm trying to bring that as low to my chest as possible. And I have found this actually to be a really great supplemental exercise when it comes to working on my biceps. And it is a great warm up and really good to do in between sets. Try it. Let me know what y'all think. As far as this exercise, it's a little bit self-explanatory, I hope. But this is the what would be called the cable flies, and you may have heard of the traditional um, weighted flies, dumbbell flies. But in the absence of regular cable flies from a cable machine, I use resistance bands from this one type of resistant band company that I found, and the type of resistant band that actually is safer and is less likely to snap on you and hit you in the back of the head or whatever other body part you may be focusing on. But I found this particular exercise, you can angle it with how you seat yourself, how you do these pulls, how you angle your hands and arms. You notice I do a little variation here. There's a slight variation towards my lower pecs, my middle pecs, and you can even set this up to do for higher pecs. But this is also really good for working your chest, and that's what I try to do in this particular exercise. This is not my favorite iteration of an ab exercise, is what I'm going to try to do here. This is with the limited gym equipment I have at this place that I work out. And once again, I'm using a resistance band, and I can't remember the grade of it, 50 to 70 pounds, somewhere around that range. But essentially, I tie it off to a higher end thing. And as you see, I am grabbing onto something you can grab onto the resistance bands or whatever. And you essentially just pull it down as if you're trying to crunch towards your knees. Your elbows are trying to hit your knees. And you can do this motion slowly, and it actually does make quite an impact on your abs, especially on your upper abs. And it does work the rest of your core for stabilization. So you guys have to try this as well. Let me know. But there are certainly other variations that I would prefer far more. Regular crunches are okay. I can't do them really well too much because of my back, but there are other variations and other equipment that can be more effective than this particular exercise. But for me, this works for general ab work, and it seems to be very effective for me. And if you have limited equipment, it might just work for you as well. Now, this exercise is not really anything new or special or crazy. It is simply uh, all you're doing is you are working on your quads. This is simply quad rows or quad extensions, as I call them. And they are supposed to isolate your quadriceps muscles on your legs. And for me, they are an effective method of working the quads, knowing that because of my back, I can't do extensive squats or deadlifts. I can do some, but I can't do a lot. And this is good for isolation of the quads. Now, for the parallel of the hamstring or the quad extensions, is the hamstring curls. And this is a really good exercise to me to isolate the hamstrings. This is not the only exercise I use for hamstrings. I do use others, but this one is very effective. Now, there's also a seated version of this that you can do for gym equipment. And to me, I've tried it and it really isn't the same. This to me isolates the hamstrings a lot more and is a lot more effective. You don't have to necessarily go with too much of a heavy weight necessarily, but you do need to work on proper form. Notice where my knees are. They are in a what to me is a sweet spot. They're not way too over the bench. They're just on top to where my knees don't hinder the movement, but also don't over hyperextend. Otherwise, this can lead to injury with this exercise. So, if y'all do this, please be careful. Now, this is one of my favorite variations to get the quads and the hamstrings as well as the glutes. It is, of course, the weighted lunges. Now, for me, I generally try to do anywhere from 40 to 50 to 60 pounds, somewhere around that range. And in the limited area that I have, I end up just going back and forth, doing the repetitions of these lunges. And for me, it really does the job because it works on my glutes. Pardon my wallet sticking out there, but it works my glutes, it works my quads, and it works my hamstrings. And after a few sets of these, I feel it for a couple of days. And you can vary the length of this, and you'll notice a difference. Now, as far as forearm workouts go, some of the previous work that I've done, anything to do with your grip, will more than likely give you a good edge and a workout for your forearms. This rolling pin, uh, I don't know, weighted rolling pin motion is really great. I love this, and it definitely gets that pump in your forearms for sure. And you'll notice a difference. Now, notice how my form isn't exactly perfect in this, but I found this is sort of my sweet spot for working my forearms. And this is the, what I guess you'd consider the back end of the forearms or the behind end. I don't know. Um, where this would be the front of your forearms, what I'm doing now. And so you can do a few sets of these, and they will definitely make you understand just how weak your forearms are while doing this motion. Now, I think this was done with a 25 or 30 pound weight, but it's okay to start at a much, much lighter weight. and do a few sets of those to where you get comfortable with the motion and you get that feeling of, yeah, I just did a workout for this. Now, this is the final exercise of part 1, and for me, this is calf raise walks. And what I did here, what I've done in the past, is this is my calf workout, and this was something I just decided to try one day for the heck of it. What I did was I set the treadmill I was walking on to a bit of an incline, not much at first, just maybe, I don't know, whatever the second level was. And so I did that. And then what I ended up doing was, if you watch my feet, I start trying to do forward walking with the inflection there on my toes. I'm trying to walk more on my toes than my entire foot. And so it's kind of like a tiptoe walk, except you kind of slow that motion down and you're walking with precision. And so you're trying to walk with purpose, trying to control that motion in your feet, in your heels, and you don't want to overdo this. For me personally, what I ended up finding out was trying to do this for 30 seconds to a minute at a time to a couple of minutes. And I'm telling you, with variation also, you don't want to speed the actual the machine up too much, as you'll trip. But if you variate your step, essentially what part of the foot or toe goes where and how you land on your foot, you'll work out a different part of your calf. And I'm telling you guys, you try to do this kind of walking on a bit of an incline for up to 30 seconds to a minute, you're going to notice it. You are going to feel it. Your calves are going to be burning. I guarantee you. And this has become my absolute favorite exercise as far as dealing with the calves. Try it yourself, and you guys let me know what you think. Well, y'all, that was part 1 of my personal workout video. Those are just some of the exercises I do on a weekly basis to get my workout in and keep it in a way that doesn't damage my body to an extensive rate. I do have some other exercises that I do to supplement the ones you saw, and I do them kind of in between sets or whatever body part I'm able to fit in for, say, 30-minute workout or whatever. But if you have only 30 minutes in a week, you can target a specific group of muscles. You spend 10 minutes alone on arms or back or whatever. You're focusing on different variations of that. You don't want to do the same boring exercise necessarily, but it is okay to have variations that will supplement or work out a different part of that muscle. And so some exercises are more focused, like I think in part 2, I'm going to go over some more bicep workouts that I do that do indeed help with, like, if you want to warm up or make it part of your actual main workout to be very effective, that I've found to be very effective for my own workout routine. And just for those of you that are wondering, you're not going to see me doing squats. You might see me do a deadlift or two. Because of my back situation, I have the lowest disc in my back is kind of crunched up. It's not exactly super damaged, but it is to a point where it pinches a nerve. And if you have ever experienced that sort of pain, it is like a hot knife being stabbed into your vertebrae, and your body just goes stiff and you walk and hobble around like an old man. It's not something you're going to get through no matter how tough you think you are. You're not going to get through that pain, I guarantee you. I have an insanely high pain tolerance, and that stops me dead in my tracks when it hits. So I can't do what I used to do when I was younger, and I do admit that for my leg exercises, I'm not happy with that limitation. I would prefer to do squats. I would prefer to do deadlifts, okay? This is just my own personal ability into what I can do. And of course, I don't have the most fancy setup gym, and sometimes I do go to like Planet Fitness or another gym, but for some other reasons I'll get into maybe in a podcast soon talking about workouts, I generally don't like going to public gyms, but that has its own reasoning. However, if that's all you can do, then that's fine, and work on focusing to know and understand the motion, get the motion right, get the movement right, don't necessarily start instantly going heavy on anything. That's how you damage your body. That's how you get injured, by going fast and heavy with weights. You will get injured that way. When you're working out, don't let your ego do the lifting because it will damage your body. I guarantee you. I found that out from experience. So I'm telling you, don't let your ego do the lifting. Do it in a safe way, do it in a practical way, do it in a way that actually engages the muscles you're trying to work. Okay, it might look silly, but if it works and it is safe and it is a good full range of motion for that muscle, do it. Not everyone has the same muscle arrangement on their body necessarily, muscle size. Some things are dependent on the type of body you have. And I know that's weird and there's not a lot of scientific backing necessarily, but some things will be more effective than others for some people. I found this to be true because, like most of you who ever watched this video, I too have followed tons of the fitness gurus out there and seen what they do and tried what they tell me to try. And from all that, I have found what is effective for my workout. So if you've enjoyed this, please let me know, and I'll start working on part 2. And hopefully I'll get it done within a week or so, if that comes up. But I'm going to also do just a podcast talking about why I'm a little bit averse towards public gyms from a Christian standpoint, amongst other things. But mainly it has to do with that. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching.